So today I decided to play with one of the worst, I'm talking about worst SMGs, or you can say guns in the Division 2. And what I tell you happened next was pretty crazy. Yes, when I started hitting 1.3 million, 1.4 million to the dome, I was absolutely shocked. Yes, I didn't even think it was possible, right? And these heavies just went down like it was nothing. Straight body shots was murdering them. And I was like, what is going on? And the crazy part about it is this build is not even fully optimized. So I could see this pulling off maybe 1.5, who knows, million to the head. So I can't wait to keep playing around with this horrible weapon, but I figured, you know what, let me show them what this bad boy can do. And I know some of you don't believe that I hit 1.4 million, so here you go, 1.4 million to the dome. Now when I say this build isn't fully optimized, you guys are about to see in a second that it needs a lot of work, because it definitely can get some max rolls. And with the gun like this, where it doesn't give you a lot of mods to put on it, well, that's why you really need almost a perfect build to get the most damage possible. But it's still a really solid gun to play with, and it's a lot of fun in my honest opinion. But at the end of the day, is it something you practically would use all the time? No, but if you want to go around and look like Tony Montana, well, this gun is for you. So the weapon I am referring to is the M1928, and yes, this is a submachine gun. The rounds on it are 600 RPM, we have 50 round mag, and look at that total damage with the full stack, 167,000. Now we do have the full stack, and I'll explain that in a second, but just keep that in mind. Now we do have SMG damage, critical hit chance, and 10% damage to target out of cover, fully maxed out rolled. Well, I mean, the critical hit chance is 0.5 from being maxed out. Now we have a close and personal, killing a target within 7 meter grants 30% weapon damage for 10 seconds. So that is what I rolled on there. Now that talent with this weapon is an absolute monster. But you pair that up with this build, and this is why it hits so hard. Now when you hear about bullets hitting for 1.4 to 1.5, you're like, he must have a lot of reds. Well, when you look at the build, you'll know right off the bat, we actually have a lot of blues. So we're sitting at 1.5 million armor, 322,000 health. We're running 3 reds, 4 blues, and 1 yellow. Now the 4-piece Apex Predator from Hunter's Fury is where we get a lot of our damage. Remember, the 2-piece is going to give us that SMG damage of 15%. The 3 pieces gives us some survivability, 20% armor on kill, 100% health on kill, and then Apex Predator, enemies within 15 meters receive a debuff, amplifying your damage against them by 20%. Now it even gets better, because remember, killing a debuff enemy with your weapon disorients other enemies within 5 meters, but it also amplifies weapon damage by 5% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times, an additional 25% amplified damage, which is why this 4-piece is actually one of the best. Now we do have armor rolls on here, crit chance, and crit damage. Now the next piece of Hunter's Fury is going to be found on the holster, and that's going to have armor and critical hit damage. Now the Hunter's Fury knee pads are going to be rolled with weapon damage and critical hit damage. Now for the final piece, the gloves, that will have armor and critical hit damage. But let's get into the 2 main pieces that make this build hit even harder. And that's going to bring us to our chest piece. Now the chest piece is going to help us with our SMG damage. It's a Sokolov piece, so the 1 piece will give you that 10% SMG damage. We do have weapon damage rolled on here with critical hit damage, explosive resistance, which I would 100% want to have critical hit chance, and then we have a critical hit damage mod. Now we are running the talent Intimidate while you have bonus armor, amplifies total weapon damage by 35%. Now this is going to be all enemies within 10 meters, but if you start adding up the amplified damage we get from Intimidate from the Hunter's Fury set, that is why this weapon hits so hard. But it even gets better, because the backpack, the Memento Backpack, has weapon damage, armor, skill tier, and then we do have a critical hit damage mod on there. If you guys don't already know, this backpack is probably one of the best in the game for the fact that it does give you a red, blue, and yellow roll on the backpack. But what really makes it powerful is that you can get a stack up to 30% extra weapon damage on the build. And then every time we do pick up a trophy, that's giving us 15% extra weapon damage plus 40% bonus armor. So it just gets pretty insane with this build, and that's why you guys see this weapon hitting so hard. Now for the mod on the weapon, all we have is a 20 round mag, but if you want to run something else, that's up to you. Now we are pairing that up with the firewall shield, and that's going to give us that 12% damage bonus per enemy that are in front of that shield, which is amazing. And we have a reviver hive. For the secondary, you could run whatever you want. I actually have the sweet dreams, but it doesn't really matter. If you look at the stats, we have 33% crit chance, 170% crit damage, and 62% headshot damage. Now this build definitely can be improved. As you guys saw, the chest and mask were far from being maxed out, and that would improve the crit chance on the build. If you don't mind dropping some of that crit damage, just add some crit chance mods and it's gonna improve the amount of times you crit. Now I'm having a blast with this, and even though I probably won't use this build with this weapon consistently, I still think it's pretty funny that a weapon like this can pull off numbers like this. Now with it being able to hit such high numbers, even these gold and named enemies have no chance. So I just want to know what you guys think about this weapon. Have you guys ever even thought about building around it? Now obviously you can run this same build with almost any SMG and it's going to perform really well. But the fact that I got the M1928 to work with this build is something that I never thought was possible. Don't forget guys, if you guys want to use any other weapon with this build, it 100% will work. But I just want to prove that this weapon right here at 1.3, 1.4 million is still an absolute monster. Now obviously you're not going to use it all the time, but it still is a monster. So if you guys enjoyed this video, a like is appreciated. And if you guys are new to the channel, hey, why don't you hit the subscribe button so when I release another video, you guys get notified. Now if you guys enjoy watching other videos, well, this is the place for you. Recently we've been covering Watch Dogs Legions, but once the PlayStation 5 drops, we will have a bunch of other games in store. And if you only like watching Division 2 videos, why don't you check out my playlist? I have Division 2 Title Update 11.1 playlist. I have tips and tricks, how to get exotics, how to get the Hunter mask. There's playlists for everything. So I definitely have you covered on this channel. So hopefully I see you guys as a new subscriber if you guys haven't subscribed already. But I think it's time to head out. I will see you guys in the next Division 2 video. But until then, Nothing But Skills is out.